Hello, and welcome. We're back. It's another Win Daily Sports Show. My name is Michael Raziel. I have my man Ghost here with me, and we got a little tiny two-gamer today. We got a two-gamer in the NBA. We're going to be breaking it down for some DFS and for some sports betting knowledge so that you all can win a couple extra dollars. Here with me is the man, the myth. Actually, you can't see him because his name's Ghost. Ghost man, how you doing today?
Not bad, you, bro.
I don't think I've ever actually made like a ghost joke before, as weird as that is,
true.
right?
I was gonna say we've been on together how many times per week now for over a year, and I think that's the first one.
Yeah, I think that might be legitimately the first ghost joke I've made. There was also a little John Cena reference in there. I don't know if anybody got that, but a couple things going on there. We go levels deep with our jokes here at Win Daily Sports. If you haven't already, smash the hell out of that like button. We're back, people. Ask us all the questions you got because we are here to help you make money. We're on a tight schedule today because right after us is the incredible duo of TPJ and Pavi. So make sure to stick around. Those guys make me laugh so goddamn hard all the time. I appreciate everything they do for us here with HNB and our partnership with Win Daily Sports, so we love the hell out of them. So make sure to stick around. If you're here watching us, believe me, they will make you laugh. So that is what I love about them. So Ghost Man, we got a two-gamer today. Before we get into the actual games, we've done a lot of two-gamers before because we had the whole NBA playoffs last year, and it really wasn't that long ago. Curiosity. How do you like to just go about a two-game slate? What are normally the things that you kind of, if you're checking off boxes, what are some of the boxes that you like to look at? Check those off before you really start to dive too deep into the games themselves, I guess.
It pretty much is the same approach that I would have on a ridiculous slate, like a 12, 13 game slate as well. It's just the process is that much quicker when it's only two games to evaluate. I mean, you got to look at which of the two ends up having the better game environment, and that one is clearly the first game. Between Washington and Memphis out there. So you got to see, where do I plant my flag on a 11, 12, 13 game slate? You're like, man, you could get overwhelmed with a ton of options. Now you only have two games to pick from. So a lot of the times you end up having a minimum of three guys from each team of that respective game. And for me, the clear-cut option tonight is that first one. As far as lineup construction goes, you could pretty much take three different strategies. Exactly like what I was saying before. You plant your flag, you attack the single entries, and you know what? You risk it for the biscuit all in on one game pretty much, or pretty much that core of 5 to 6 players that you're locking in with two fill-in options. You can end up doing the exact same approach and going 3 max. So I would lock in 5 guys in all 3 of the same builds, and then you're interchanging the last 2 to 3 pieces out there. Or you end up building 150 lineups and going for it all and trying to cover all your bases. Long term, the 150 lineups are definitely not profitable. But that being said, on a night like tonight, there are only so many combinations. So if you're feeling like a guy like Luka Doncic is a lock on no matter what site that you're playing, especially on FanDuel where he somehow got moved to small forward, if you're locking a guy like that in all 150 lineups, it could definitely pay dividends, just like it could bury you fairly early on. So it's a good way to cover all your bases. It's a good way to potentially get a takedown, but if you're not taking down that top prize or potentially chopping it with X amount of other people, you're likely looking at a night where you are not staring at a profit screen.
It could be very difficult, and I understand. Again, I know you in particular. You almost had that Millie. What was it for the restart? Right, the restart, the Battle of LA, and then whatever the hell I don't even remember, like Jazz Pelicans or something. And I remember I was texting you all night long. It's like, all right, who am I rooting for? JaMychal Green. All right, if you say so, Ghost, I'm gonna root for JaMychal Green. I remember it very, very specifically, and we almost had it. We, as in, I was sweating it with you. So that was a lot of fun. So it's definitely, I like the way you explain that and kind of the way that you can go about it. I guess in terms of this slate in particular, we got 2 games. I'm going to bring them up in a second. I want to give you the lines. You already talked about that Washington-Memphis game. Grizzlies are favored by 3, over-under of 237. We know both teams don't like to play defense. Both teams like to play fast, so that's the environment we really love. And that second game is just a little bit weirder. Spurs and Mavericks. Mavericks by 4 at home, over-under of 226. So a little bit lower, but still 2 solid totals. Obviously, one a lot nicer than the other. I guess let's break down this first game, the Memphis-Washington game. As you said, this is the one that is going to be a little bit more important that we can do a little bit more with. Bradley Beal at 94, Russell Westbrook at 10-1, Ja 7-8. We love to attack Russell Westbrook in multiple fashions. How are you looking at this game in particular and those specific 5 guys? How many are coming from this game?
Yeah, so 3 of them are going to be coming from this game, and 3 of the top 5 owned plays of the slate. And rightfully so, right? People don't have to overthink it, especially with Ja Morant being under $8,000. It's not like Over on FanDuel, DeJounte Murray's at 8,500. It makes things a little bit more interesting in terms of a pivot. But on DraftKings specifically, I'm locking in Ja Morant. I'll say one of Bradley Beal or Russell Westbrook, but everybody knows where I'm going with it. Though that's exactly where I'm starting every single build that I make tonight. If we take a look at what Ja did last time versus Washington, we won't have to scroll too far because it's one of his last game logs that are there. He did exactly like what we were talking about on the show. He's attacking Russell Westbrook just like we always want to pick on him on every single slate that Washington is on. And for me, it's the amount of times that he got to the free throw line that really made the difference in the past 2 games, right? So Ja being aggressive like this makes all the difference in the world in his game. And I don't see any reason why that would not be the case tonight in such a high, fast-paced game with virtually no defense on top of that. So am I expecting another 35 points, 10 assists from Ja Morant? Probably not. But at the same time, with the amount that he's getting to the free throw line, you know what? And last game against Milwaukee, yes, Milwaukee is really bad from behind the arc, but 13 three-point attempts from Ja Morant is definitely not his style of game. So if he could keep it on the deck tonight and just really keep attacking the paint, he's in for a really big night. So I will be locking in Ja Morant on DraftKings and having a ton of exposure on FanDuel as well.
I love it. And then your second favorite player, would you say Bradley Beal is your second favorite behind Sabonis?
Most likely, yeah.
Yeah, we'll rock
from
with
a DFS perspective. Like for guys that I write about, obviously guys that I actually root for is DFS. You got to take the emotion out of it, right? So, but from a DFS perspective, Bradley Beal is right there behind Domantas Sabonis. That's for sure.
I love it. So talk to me a little bit about Beal. I mean, going up against, we like to, that's the other thing too, right? We like to pick on Russell Westbrook. We like to pick on Ja Morant. So, I mean, I know you said one of 2 in Bradley Beal, Russell Westbrook. What is that breakdown going to look like? Because Russell Westbrook going up against Ja Morant most likely is also a very tasty matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing on FanDuel, Bradley Beal being at 10-5 makes it a little bit of an easier decision, or if anything, makes it a little bit of a harder decision because the prices are flipped over there. Mm-hmm. But taking that $700 discount on DraftKings for a guy that's going to be turning the ball over a lot less, that's going to be scoring a lot more, and on top of that, getting bonuses for every 3-pointer that he makes, getting to the free throw line a lot more than Russell Westbrook as well tonight. Bradley Beal is going to be my guy over on DraftKings, as he is on virtually every slate that Washington is on. Is he going to have a little bit of a breather because of the All-Star break? Absolutely not. I saw that question in Discord today. People should not be concerned about guys that played in the All-Star break maybe getting 30 minutes instead of 35. Washington's actually in the playoff race right now because of the play-in round that's available to them. They might sneak into a 10 or 9 seed and have an actual chance to make the playoffs in that terrible conference out there in the East, right? So Bradley Beal is going to be a full go tonight. I'm really looking forward to watching him play against this terrible defense. And you know what? I respect Dillon Brooks' defense ever since I was watching him at Oregon, of course, with that team with Jordan Bell and a bunch of these other guys. I love watching that Oregon team make the
Final Four
dance. Obviously, I have to make a March Madness reference. Dude. This is March.
Championship
it's crazy.
Week. I've been literally watching college basketball since like 12 o'clock this afternoon. It's been incredible.
Yeah,
I love it.
The games have been absolutely ridiculously. I can't wait to watch that tournament, of course. But I love Dillon Brooks' defensive side of the ball there ever since his days at Oregon. But Bradley Beal is just going to overpower him on offense. So he's my guy over on DraftKings tonight with Russell Westbrook getting the very slight edge on FanDuel simply because of the price difference. And $700 doesn't seem like much on a 10 to 15 game slate. But when we're talking about a 2-game slate, that could be all the difference in the world.
Exactly. And so before I want to get into a little value plays, right? You have 2 players over here. You said there's 5 guys that you're going to be locking in. I assume that means 2 or 3 are going to come from this game over here. So I'm curious kind of what that core is and then where you can find the value to fill in from there.
Yeah, so the third one's going to be Luka Doncic, and then my other 2 guys are going to be, one's going to be mid-range and one's going to be a value play that we'll toggle back and forth. Actually, they're both in that first game, so we'll get to that a little bit. But Luka's going to be my guy here. Is he going to pay off from his price on a 11 to 13 game slate in a spot like this? I likely wouldn't play Luka, but I'm not fading the highest scoring player on a 2-game slate. It's not happening. So when we're talking about pairing Luka Doncic with one of these value plays that I'm going to mention from the first game, you really have to look at it as a 2v2 in your build, because outside of Ja at 7,800, who else are you somewhat paying up for in that upper mid-range tier, right? You have guys like Jonas Valanciunas, who, yes, I do like Jonas Valanciunas tonight. Absolutely. He'd be probably the only option that I would consider. But at that point, you're rooting for a guy like Jonas Valanciunas to have somewhat of a big night to a career night to possibly in that 2v2 payoff versus Luka. And it's not because Jonas can't do it. It's more so the second player that you're pairing him with. Are you pairing him with a guy like Keldon Johnson? Like which $5,000 option are you pairing them with Jonas Valanciunas to outscore Luka and a $3,000 punt play, right? So that's the point where I look at my build and I'm like, Luka can outscore these two guys by himself, let alone if this 3K punt player that I end up slotting in gets, 10 to 15 DraftKings points. That's all I need when I end up evaluating that 2v2. So I'm not fading the highest score on a 2-game slate. It's as simple as a process as that. You take the matchup out of it, anything like that. There is nobody on this slate that has the upside as Luka Doncic does.
Exactly. And that's right. It's a 2-game slate. So we're not worried as much about, roster construction is extremely important, but we're not worried about, well, does my 3K player get me 5X? Does my 5K player? No, you need raw points at this point. So you can build a perfect lineup in terms of value and everything. But if Luka goes out and scores 65 and your highest scorer scores 45, it's not going to work. You're just not going to win most likely. And that is the problem, especially, or the solution to these 2-game slates.
And that's exactly it. And when we're talking about 2 teams out of 4, representing 50% of the slate, outside of Doncic and Porzingis, who's contributing for Dallas?
Exactly.
That you can confidently slot into your lineup and say, this guy's going to contribute no matter what. There is nobody there that you can confidently say that. Jalen Brunson, okay, yes, he'll contribute. Tim Hardaway Jr., he'll contribute if his 3-point shot is dropping. You can make arguments for all these guys. But what I'm saying is that take all that out of it. Who can you confidently say that will contribute on offense? It ends with Luka and KP. And then on the Washington side, it starts and ends with Russell Westbrook and Bradley Beal. So a lot of these value plays, you shouldn't be concerned about, are they going to get 6X? Are they going to get that flame emoji on DraftKings? None of that matters here. You need the raw points. You cannot pass up on one of Russell Westbrook or Bradley Beal and pairing them with Luka Doncic in your build tonight.
Exactly. I love it. Flame emojis do look cool though. It is awesome when you get just like a straight, just fire down. That does make me feel really good. Whether I hope I'm winning at that point, but whether I do or not, it's like, well, look what I did. Like, right, I did everything right. So let's hop back to that first game then for a second. As you said, there's going to be a mid-range and then a nice little value play, and then we can kind of figure out the rest of the build from there. So where are we going in this first game for those plays?
The mid-range play is going to be Dillon Brooks. I kind of gave it away a little bit as I was talking him up. I didn't want to give it away too early, but I kind of gave it away a little bit. And if we remember what we said on our last show, I know it was just over a week ago in that game versus Milwaukee where Dillon Brooks was getting back into that starting lineup. And I pointed out that he had 31 minutes the game before against Washington in an elite game environment. He looked great. He was balling up. The volume was there for him, taking 19 shots, 8 3-point attempts on top of that. I was like, you know what? If Dillon Brooks slots into this starting lineup tonight alongside Desmond Bane, everybody was playing Desmond Bane that night, and I ended up swapping to Dillon Brooks, and man, did that pay off. A nice, cool 50 points on DraftKings from Dillon Brooks that night. Am I expecting the same tonight? Not to the same extent, but something pretty close to it, to the point where Dillon Brooks is going to be one of the best point per dollar producers on this entire slate. Washington gets absolutely obliterated from behind the arc. The volume is there for Dillon Brooks. He's been working on his shot during the All-Star break. You got to think all these guys that don't participate, they could take 2 different ways, right? They could just end up relaxing and pretty much not doing anything, or they can work on this game. Recent film shows that Dillon Brooks was in the gym. Memphis reporters are saying the same thing. I'm trusting that Dillon Brooks is going to go out there and ball out tonight as that secondary scoring option in a smaller lineup where, you know what, Jonas Valanciunas can absolutely dominate the paint, but getting that $1,500 savings from Jonas to Dillon Brooks, and on top of that, he's both guard and forward eligible. He's going to be my guy tonight, actually on both sides. So shooting guard is really, really bad on FanDuel. It's normal. It's a 2-game slate, but Dillon Brooks is going to be my guy on both sides tonight, especially on DraftKings where I can slot him in very comfortably into that small forward position.
Yeah, with Ja, Bradley Beal, and Dillon Brooks and Luka, we're looking at about 41.75 left per player. So that's not terrible, but you said you did have a value play that can make this a little bit easier. So are we staying in this Memphis game?
Yes, we are. We're going to go all the way down to the bottom of the screen here. Kind of makes sense that we have 41.75 left. And we're going to scroll up just a little bit, and I'm going to mention 3 guys. So you can go with one of 3 between Mo Wagner, Denny Avdija, or Robin Lopez. You can even go 2 out of the 3. I'm okay with that. Obviously, you can't play Lopez and Wagner together. Yeah. They directly sub for one another. I avoid that on 13-game slates, let alone 2-game slates, right? So that's not happening on a slate like this where my entire lineup can't get points at the same time. So I'm not playing both those guys together. Plus, on top of that, you're using your utility spot on 2 centers where Center is by far the thinnest position on this slate, right? So you got to play it at two different angles. Mo Wagner is likely going to get the start here. You just have to see if he's going to get 10 minutes or is he going to get 25.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing, if we look at their past couple games, he's actually been subbing out for Robin Lopez, and Robin Lopez has been getting that run for them, especially when we're talking about a bigger center where Mo Wagner can't play defense and he can't match up against physical opposing centers. He's a good play against a team like Golden State, where, you know what, James Wiseman is likely going to be coming off the bench as they make their playoff run. They have no interior that can really threaten them outside of Draymond Green, but Draymond's game is not in the post. It's on the outside. Mo Wagner matches up well there. Against a big body like Jonas Valanciunas, they need a big body to counter that. And that guy is Robin Lopez tonight. So I lean Robin Lopez over Mo Wagner. But again, the fact that Mo Wagner starts, I'm hoping that he draws more ownership than Robin Lopez. It's normal that everybody's going to want to see that green check mark beside their player. They want to get as many starters in their lineup as possible. I always say this on 12, 13, 14 game slates where, you know what, people that start does not equate the minutes that they're going to play. On a 2-game slate, if it means that I get Robin Lopez at ridiculously low ownership over Mo Wagner at virtually the exact same price, I'm taking that risk 10 times out of 10.
I love that. Well, there it is, people. A nice little 5-person. I mean, 6 even if you want to go Denny Avdija. John Morant, Bradley Beal, Dillon Brooks, Robin Lopez, Luka Doncic, potentially Mo Wagner, and Denny Avdija. Not a bad place to start. I do want to get over here. We have one lineup. If you have any more, there we go. I say that and another pops in. So we're here for a couple more minutes. So Morant, Beal, Keldon Johnson. First day back, goes. First day back. Denny Avdija, Joe Val, Westy, Winslow, or Luka, Beal, Bates, Diop, Avdija, Westy, Matthews, Wagner. Or so just
Bates Diop isn't going to play tonight.
No.
Unless suddenly 4 Spurs get ruled out like before tip. Obviously, we're still 2 hours before lock, but right now, Bates Diop's likely not going to be in the rotation. Rudy Gay is back. LaMarcus Aldridge is slated to be back. Yes, Devin Vassell is out, but that just means more minutes for Derek White, who's also back in the lineup. DeJounte's still there, starting with DeRozan. There's not enough minutes to go around for guys like Bates Diop, so I can't get there. The first lineup looks a lot better to me. I prefer that first lineup versus the second one.
Love it, love it, love it. DraftKings single entry, G. Matthews, Winslow, Avdija, Aldridge, Beal, Brooks, Luka.
So Garrison Matthews is that guy that, like I was saying, starting doesn't necessarily equate minutes. You would need Garrison Matthews to come out of the game for Denny Avdija to see 25 plus minutes, right? So you definitely can't play the two of them together. And right now the model has Avdija projected for way more minutes than Garrison Matthews, right? So Garrison Matthews will likely get the spot start, same thing as Mo Wagner. But if you look at their past couple games, they're seeing 10 to 12 minutes each in favor of Robin Lopez. Rui Hachimura is shifting to the 5, and Davis Bertans slotting in at the 4 if Lopez is not on the floor with Rui. And then Avdija is coming in for Garrison Matthews along with Raul Neto, right? So he's likely going to get the spot start. The thing with him is that I don't even want to say he's a poor man's Duncan Robinson. He's a very, very poor man's Duncan Robinson. And the fact that if he doesn't start this game 5 for 5 from 3, he's quickly coming out of that game and riding pine the rest of the night. So you can't play him with Avdija. I'm not playing Garrison Matthews tonight, but the rest of it does look really strong.
Love it, love it, love it. Theo, what's up, boys? What's up, Big T?
What's up, Big T?
How you doing, buddy? Any interest in Derek White, assuming he starts?
Yeah, I have a ton. The thing with Derek White, it's scary that you could say that about roughly a handful of guys tonight. I don't know if we're going to get 20 minutes of Derek White or if we're going to get 28. It's tough to call. If he starts alongside DeJounte Murray, I like that a lot. Even if he's coming off the bench, I may like that even more because he's going to be that primary scoring option as they rotate out. The thing that I want to say about the Spurs is that, you know what, I don't know how much LaMarcus Aldridge we see tonight. I do think that if he gets ruled in, which right now he's slated to be, I think he's going to come off the bench. They go Jakob Puddle. That's an inside joke, obviously. Yeah. Jakob Puddle. Jake Puddle going at the 5, DeMar at the 4, and they just go a bit smaller. I don't think we see Aldridge and Jake Puddle together on the floor all that much. More minutes for Derek White with DeJounte Murray on the floor at the same time. I like that a lot. I do like the Derek White play.
I love it.
Model has him pretty high too.
You bring up DeMar DeRozan. I know you're sprinkling I sprinkled. I don't know how heavy you went. I sprinkled a little. Talk to the people. What do you like there?
Yeah, a little bit. So I want to say the field, but it's not really a field because it's not DFS. But a lot of people are projecting DeMar DeRozan to go under in this game. I think he goes over. This is the perfect spot for DeMar to attack the paint. Dallas's interior defense is one of the worst in the entire league.
It's bad.
So I don't know how much LaMarcus Aldridge that we see tonight. Right now, we don't have him projected for a ton of minutes. I mean, we have him in the 20 range, which is more than enough to give DeMar DeRozan more opportunity at the 4 with Jake Puddle at the 5. DeMar DeRozan at the 4, that's a good matchup for him. You're going to say he's going up against Porzingis. He will not. Dallas shifts their defense all the time. He's going to be going up against a guy like Dorian Finney-Smith, anything like that. That's a matchup that he could take advantage of in the mid-range. I have DeMar DeRozan over 20.5 points tonight, so 20.5. 21 or more for DeMar. I really do like this spot for him. I think he attacks on the inside early and often. If you want a little narrative too, first game back for DeMar after that all-star snub. Lock and load.
I love that. DeMar DeRozan as a 4 is just, it's insane considering where he was a couple years ago. Now it's like, oh yeah, he's a 4. It's like, no, he's not. He's a 2. Like, what are we doing here?
And you thought of like even now you think of the Raptors, you're like, oh, it's Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet backcourt. And prior to that, it was Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan backcourt. And now we're talking about DeMar DeRozan getting minutes at the 4, right? It's just
it's
and if you look at where all the shots are being taken and hit in the entire league, it's all from the perimeter or inside the paint. Like the mid-range game is virtually non-existent now. DeMar DeRozan is still that guy that has the mid-range down to a T. I like this matchup for him. I think he gets going early and often enough to hit over 20.5 points.
Let's go. It's plus money too, so take the money and run. FanDuel GPP, White, Ja, Beal, Brooks, Luka, Hachimura, LMA, Tillman, Rolo.
I like it. The only thing is I'm worried about Tillman. But again, you can't play Wagner with Rolo, right? So that's a guy where like if Tillman is your last man in, it works. It really does work. So if you want a little bit of a safer option as well, this option is the higher upside. If you want a bit safer, you could come off Brooks and go down to Desmond Bane, who's minimum price on FanDuel tonight, and then upgrade Tillman to a guy like Brandon Clark, someone like that, get a little bit more safety at the power forward position. Kristaps Porzingis is likely going to be like 99% on because of how bad power forward is. Everyone's going to start their build with KP and Luka. I think the advantage starts right there. Fading one of those guys, and obviously everyone knows where I'm locking in, so I'm pretty clear who I'm going to be fading. But getting different in spots like that tonight, you don't have to go overly crazy with your lineup. A lot of guys are locking in Russ at point guard, Luka at small forward, KP at power forward, and then figuring out the rest from there. So even a guy like Valanciunas at a very thin center position tonight can come in. He's not going to come in low owned. It's a 2-game slate, but he's going to come in lower than he should be.
So here's a question. Can you play Bane? I got 2 Bane questions. 1, are you playing any? And then 2, can you play Bane and Brooks together?
I will be playing some Desmond Bane, not a whole lot. I do prefer Justice Winslow off the bench there. Memphis is like, I don't want to say obsessed, but like they're pretty obsessed with getting this guy going. Like they keep giving him a ton of minutes, and you know what? He's gonna produce. You know what I mean?
He was a top 10 pick. Like he was just super disappointing in Miami. I remember him coming out when he dropped to Miami. They were like, we got the pick of the draft, and he sucked the whole time. So
that's the thing. So you know what? Memphis has a capable 3-and-D wing that can handle the ball. On top of that, it lets Melton play a little bit more off ball, and you see that when he's going 6 for 10, 7 for 10 from deep. I really do like Winslow in this matchup as well. I don't mind playing Bane and Brooks together. It's more so that you can't play Winslow and Bane together. So I would play Winslow with Brooks or Bane with Brooks, but not Bane with Winslow.
And is Lyles viable?
Not right now. We haven't projected for 0 minutes. Unless LaMarcus Aldridge gets ruled out. Obviously, we're still far to lock there. There's 2 hours to lock. It's a late start tonight. But right now, I'm having 0 Trey Lyles. That's for sure. 0.
And Team Xbox. I wonder if he has an Xbox or a PlayStation. Drummer most likely going to the Nets. Yeah, Allen Robinson tried to break that news the other day. I thought that was hysterical. Shout out Allen.
Andre Drummond's not going to the Nets. I don't see that happening.
Him and Blake teaming back up, and Blake and DeAndre Jordan. It's like transitive property.
People that way, like KD is just asking to get roasted, man.
Dude? He's such a wimp. I don't think anyone would like say anything bad about him.
And I know we're getting to the end of the show too, so I'm just gonna like drop it in there without much analysis there. But people need to stop acting, like Blake Griffin is still relevant to making an impact to the game.
Yeah.
Like people saying like, oh my God, the Nets are over the top because they got Blake Griffin. This is not
5 years ago.
City.
5 years ago, this team would have been insane.
If Brooklyn had KD with Harden, with Kyrie, with Lob City, DeAndre Jordan, and Blake Griffin, okay, yes,
so much fun.
Yes, it would be game over. But this is 2021.
Yeah,
not like
Blake Griffin's knees are shot, man. It's so sad. It sucks. Last question. Which 2 stars would you play on FanDuel? What's up, Ben? How you been? I miss everybody. We don't get to see everybody. We haven't seen everyone for a week. So how you been, Ben? I hope you're well. Which 2 stars would you play in FanDuel Cash?
You can't play Cash tonight. 2-game slate.
Can't play Cash tonight, Ben.
I would start my lineup with Luka and one of Beal or Westbrook on FanDuel.
Le Mat de Soir, Jake Puddle in Dallas or no? Puddle Party. Oh, I'm sorry. That's funny. Yes, Jake Puddle.
His price is too high for me. Like getting that, like an upside of Jake Puddle is like 36 DK, and it's I don't know. I don't see it being necessary on this slate.
Step back brick off the top of the backboard.
I saw a tweet the other day. It was like the quote unquote like anniversary of DeAndre Jordan absolutely baptizing Brandon Knight.
That was amazing.
That was, wow.
That was they were so much fun. Last one, I promise, because we actually have to leave. Sorry, guys. DraftKings single entry. Is this better? Ja, White, Winslow, Avdija, Lopez, Beal, Brooks, Luka. Luka's with a K too, by the way. Seeing it with a C is weird. But that looks familiar to Ghostman. So we're going to leave it at that. Ghost, where can everyone find you on the internet?
At DFS_Ghost over on Twitter. And of course, with the Win Daily team, windailysports.com/chat.
Got it.
7 free days. Make sure you guys come and join. A ton of PGA content flying right now in Discord. NBA is back. We're in the full swing of things here after the All-Star break. Make sure you guys come and join tonight. 7 free days. Get Sia's secret weapon in Discord, of course. If you like making money, even if you don't like playing PGA DFS, you're gonna like it because the team makes you money. I know nothing about PGA. I play what the guys do, and I make money every week in PGA. So
every time
it works every time, 10 times out of 10. Make sure you guys come and join 7 free days. You won't regret it.
WinDailySports.com/chat. You can find me at Michael Raziel1, him at DFS_Ghost, us at Win Daily Sports. Thank you to everyone in the chat. We missed you all very, very much. Tomorrow, no show because I do the show with Mike North on our channel. Coming back on Friday, I think it's another big slate. Make sure to check out. We're going to have a podcast drop tonight to cover that slate. Give you a little taste, a little preview, me and Stoby. So make sure to check that out, everyone. If you haven't already, just smash that like button. Make us YouTube goddamn stars. I can't wait. Do you see what cars those YouTube stars drive? It's insane.
It's crazy.
They're like 18 years old driving Ferraris. It's like, well, first off, money management. Like, I don't know how much you make, but just what are you doing? But yeah, shout out to them. So make us YouTube stars, everybody. We would love it. For Ghostman, for myself, everyone in the chat, HNB and Win Daily Sports, we hope you make it a very profitable. I'm actually having tacos tonight, so Taco Wednesday. Bye, everybody.